Here at Eurobike, there are so many bikes to gawp at, and well, I'm going to run you through today some of my absolute favourites that I've seen so far on display. Now, before we go on, make sure you do subscribe to the channel and also press that little notification icon. Right, let's go and take a look. I'm here now with the fastest bike in the world, officially, or at least for 1 hour. The bike of Victor Campenaerts, 55.089 kilometres, which he set earlier on this year. This is his Ridley bike, and well, I'm going to run you through a few of the really tricked out details on it. First of all, the tyres. Got a pair of Vittoria Evo Corsas here. No, sorry, Pista Corsas. Crumbs, nearly got that one wrong to start with. Well, these tyres are actually only designed to be used for up to 100 kilometres. That's how fragile this tread pattern is on top of it here. So it's kind of like a latex feel to it, so it's going to be super low rolling resistance. And while these are just 18 millimetres in width, imagine those pumped up to 200 psi. That's why that sort of thing you can only use on the boards of a track. Now, the Campagnolo Ghibli disc wheels, they're held in place, well certainly on the front anyway, with a super aerodynamic skewer. It's actually the sort of thing which you'd use on a commuting bike to stop your front wheel from being stolen around town. So that's what he's got in there. Not the sort of thing you can change in a hurry, but well, he's not going to need to, let's face it. The rear wheel, that's just held in place with the standard nuts. Now, these wheels, the bearings inside of them, ceramic bearings, but all of the grease, all of the lube has been removed from them, and then just prior to actually undertaking the hour record, the mechanics just put a couple of drops in each side of the wheel just to try and free up those wheels and get them spinning super quick, super fast. This bike, I absolutely love the hour record. I'm sure you can tell that from the previous videos I've done. Not to mention the fact he's got a custom 3D printed cockpit here that's absolutely stunning. There's the actual elbow pads there are so minimalistic, and the base bar super narrow too. And the paintwork, there's just a little bit of glitter in there. The hour record. I wish more people would go for it. Check this out, probably one of my favourite bikes here at the show, the Eddy Merckx Corsa Road, belonging to Oliver Naesen of the AG Desert Le Mondial squad. Now, he used this on the final stage of this year's Tour de France on the Champs-Élysées, and for me it probably got voted as, well, the bike of the Tour de France, because Steel was back in the peloton, back in the top tier. And this bike, well, it's made out of Columbus HSS and also Columbus XCR. As you can see, the tubing is a little bit more oversized than a traditional steel bike. We've got a carbon fork on there, so it's not all steel. I don't think anyone would be brave enough to use a steel fork these days, because they were quite shattering as you rode along, although not as bad as alloy forks, I must say. The rear dropouts on this bike are so beefed up and oversized. I love the design and style of them. Not to mention also the tricolour band here of the Belgian national colours. We've got a Road to Chain set, a Shimano Dura-Ace group set. Now, interestingly as well, the group set is not Di2. So Oliver obviously prefers to have or use the actual cable variety there. Moving back, well, the deader seat post is held in place with a standard clamp here on the actual frame. Then up here, we have got a secondary one. Now, I've mentioned these before in a few videos, and it's not always that easy to explain what it is. Essentially, it's just a really small little screw or bolt which goes in there, and it's almost like a backup. So if this one here was to fail, then you've got this one here which could well hold it in place for a bit longer. Or alternatively, if you travel a lot with your bike, you can actually use that as a marker, as it's way more accurate than any tape, because it's not going to move. You can slide it right down in place, and then your saddle height is set. You don't need to worry about that. Take in and out that saddle as much as you want. You've just got to worry about getting it lined up straight again, and if you're as full with your OCD as I am, that's going to be a bit of a nightmare. But, right, the finishing touch has to be down here on the seat tube. There is a sticker how it's been tailor-made for Oliver Naesen, and also it's got all of the specific measurements on that too. I want one of those on my bikes. Now, if you like your fancy artwork and you like your Falcons, I like Falcons, Atlanta Falcons, one of my favourite American football teams, then you are going to like what they've done here on the wheels of Fast Forward. They've decorated this bike in a Falcon style design, because this front wheel, which is called the Falcon, it's kind of a one-spoke, or is it a two-spoke? I don't know. I'll let you make up your mind about it, really. I mean, officially, I guess it is a two-spoke, the way it's going to be made. But, hey, we're not going to go into the details of that. But it's super interesting. It's not your imagination. Yeah, you can put your hands in all of this. Look, there is nothing there. It's so cool. I've been wanting to see one of these for absolutely ages. And actually, one of the reasons why they called it the Falcon is because the Falcon is one of the fastest animals on the planet. Oh, I do love a wheel, especially a strange one like this. Tomasini bikes, a bike actually I've wanted from about 1993 when a friend of mine, Dan Moore, had one, and I was insanely jealous when he used to ride around our local streets on one. And I think this one here is identical to what he had. Probably a little bit smaller though, this one is pretty small. Made out of Columbus tubing. Thankfully I didn't knock it over, otherwise it'd been quite a bit of trouble, because what I'm going to talk about now is the paintwork on this bike and the attention to detail on it. Just check out the chrome work that we've got here on the inserts of the dropouts, the insert of the derailleur hanger, the front derailleur hanger there, and also the bosses here where your downtube shifters or STI shifter adapters are going to go. Those lugs. This bike for me is absolutely beautiful. I love the way that all of the engraving is filled in with a little bit of colour on there too. We've got the T of Tomasini as well, just really well done inside of the fork. Can I have this one as well, please? Right, I've just been alerted by our friends at Enovit. They've got a really cool bike here for me to come and check out on their stand. And when I heard it was the bike that Francesco Moser set the hour record in 1984 using lenticular disc wheels, you could say I was a little bit excited. However, the folks also heard that I've got grubby little hands, so they've put it, well, out of arm's reach. Has anyone got a ladder? Ladder? No? Do you want to give me a bunk? No? All right. Now, I just simply had to include this T-Red Stayers bike because for me this really encompasses pure speed and grit and, well, almost madness when riding on the track, because on board one of these bikes you're actually going to be following a motorbike at extremely high paces. It's not a Derny, I mean real motorbikes. And one of the ways in which you can actually ride it much faster is the fact that they've shortened the wheelbase on it. So if you look at the forks here, essentially they look like they're turned around, so you can just get closer behind the motorbike. So you've basically just take more advantage of the aerodynamics to be gained. Now, if we stay at the front end as well, you can see we've got a front disc wheel on there, meaning that, well, you're going to be super fast because you're going to be cutting through the air just a little bit easier. And, well, you've got this brace bar too, from the forks all the way up to the top of the stem. And that's fixed in place there with a special bracket, which has actually been brazed and enables just a bit more sturdiness at the front end. Because remember, you're putting through so many Gs on the banking of a track. Hence this reinforcement bar, and it is a pretty beefy bit of kit. Now, I want to actually just go back to the wheels quickly, because you can see the front wheel is really small. I think that's like a 24-inch wheel on there, and the tubular itself is actually being gaffer taped in place on the side of both the wheel as well as on the sidewall of the tubular. Now that is to help it both kind of stay in place, and also in case of any abrasions, if you were to overlap a wheel of that motorbike, quite unlikely, it's less chance really of tearing the sidewall and having a blowout. So you've done exactly the same thing on the back wheel here. Let's move up then. The saddle. Just check out this, another reinforcement plate, if you like. Well, the plate is on the bottom, and then we've got this adjustable bar there. Reason being, riders creep so far forward, and they tend to ride very far forward, just trying to get out the power. As you can see here as well, the seat post, that's been flipped forward too, combined with a monstrous chainring on there as well. I love stair racing. Right, this curved bike on the WTB stand, this has just caught my eye. The reason being, well, it's got to be the paintwork, hasn't it? Just look at how it goes from the purple almost up into a lime green. Now, this paint must be super thin because you can still see kind of the actual brushed finish of that frame popping through from beneath it. And I love the way actually the logos have been left unpainted on the down tube here too. There are some great finishing touches on the bike, including colour coordinated bosses here, bolts which are in the bosses on that carbon fork at the front, which just finish it off. But, well, really nothing finishes it off quite as much as a fancy drivetrain, let's face it, in particular a chain. So we've got a rainbow type finish on the SRAM chain, which matches in really well with the actual frame. It's not my type of bike normally actually, but I'm liking it. I just wish it had normal handlebars. That's just personal preference. Oh, correction, it's not even painted, by the way. It's anodised, so there we are. Don't ever let me paint a bike again. There we are, some of my favourite bikes here on show. Let me know, though, which one is your favourite down there in the comments section. Get back in. Also, what did I miss? Because there is so much here to look at. Remember as well to like and share this video with your friends. Don't forget to also check out the GCN shop at shop.globalcyclingnetwork.com for 2 more cracking videos from Eurobike. How about clicking just over here and just here.